I have started training for a trail marathon. It'll be a 16-week training block, and through those 16 weeks I'll be doing my best to go into a bit more of a deep dive as to what that training involves. Today is a double run day, so I'm going to take you with me and show you what that looks like around my current work schedule. Tuesday is my first double run day of the week, and I get up at 6:45 on these mornings. With the dark winter mornings well in place now, I've struck a balance between getting the first run done early enough in the day, but not so early that I'm running in darkness. My mental health suffered quite a bit last year from doing so much of my running in the dark, so I'm looking to avoid that this time around. I drink 300 to 500 mils of water as soon as I get up. About 30 to 40 minutes before I head out, I eat a banana and drink another 300 to 500 mils of water. This second drink will contain electrolytes, and I use Active Root Blue Zest electrolyte mix. About 20 minutes before heading out, I do mobility and activation exercises. These exercises have been really helpful in keeping my hips and ankles limber and mobile. I had issues in the last marathon training block with really stiff ankles and pain in my hips developing in the latter stages of the training block, so this is something else I'm aiming to avoid this time around. The activation exercises also help prepare my body for the run, helping me get my running form locked in as well as starting to warm up the muscles. Once I've done all of that, I get ready to head out the door between 7:50 and 8 a.m. Okay, so ordinarily Tuesday is my tempo run in the morning, but I raced on Sunday, did an 11.4 kilometre fell race, so obviously my legs aren't going to be recovered enough for a tempo run to be like a sensible thing to do. And I'm also doing my third cross-country race of the year on this coming Sunday. So to try and keep the overall intensity at like a sensible level, I'm just not doing the tempo run today. Just going to go out for an easy effort. Might throw in maybe a couple of surges. Maybe my legs are still feeling somewhat beat up, so I'm not going to push it. Just a nice easy 10k jog, and then I'll do my second run later in the day. So muddy. Squelch, squelch, squelch. Right, so while I can't really run, yeah, so I've got a race this Sunday, which means I'm probably going to have to forego the tempo run next week as well. But that's fine, because I mean, a race is obviously still quite high stimulus. So foregoing the tempo run isn't really going to be a big deal, because the training stimulus will still be there. So I'll probably do either another trail run, or maybe I'll do like a shorter tempo, like 10 or 15 minutes. I've been doing 20-minute continuous tempos for 4 weeks now, and that feels pretty sustainable. The issue I was running into this time last year was I was trying to do tempo runs that were too long. Like the tempo portion of the run was way too long, and I was also trying to do them at what I thought my tempo pace should be, and not what my tempo pace actually was. I let the ego get in, so it wasn't sustainable, and I hit like a burnout wall partway into my marathon block, where I just couldn't like face doing any tempo runs because I was pushing them way too hard. Cute little river here. So that's going to change this year. Just going to be quite conservative about it and make sure I'm comfortable and
I'm feeling good throughout each week and not kind of pushing it too hard.
After the first run of the day, it's time for breakfast. On double days, I always have porridge, which is 50 grams of oats, put 15 grams of chia seeds in, 30 grams of pumpkin seeds, blueberries, half an apple, and about 250 mils of milk. It comes to about 26 grams of protein, thereabouts. Alongside the porridge, I have about 200 mils of fruit juice. I usually have something that's got spirulina in it, just because it's good for you and I like the colour. Blue, and then I also have one vitamin D tablet alongside my breakfast. Vitamin D is the only supplement I take at the moment. I probably should get a blood panel done at some point, but we'll get around to it. And that's just generally pretty important this time of year because the UK is at a fairly high latitude and don't get a lot of sun. So getting the vitamin D tablets in is important. Once I've had breakfast, I have some time to get showered, do some chores and prepare my lunch. I'm a strength coach. My coaching hours on a Tuesday are in the afternoon and evening. I'm still in the earlier stages of a coaching career, so I've just got the one regular client on a Tuesday at the minute. I cycle down to the gym for 12, coach my client, eat my lunch, and then lunch on a Tuesday is always rice, chili beans, and nutritional yeast. Once I've eaten, I pop over to the shop to get any odds and ends of groceries we might need back home, and then I go back to the gym to prepare for my strength training session. My lower body strength training is mostly focused around developing pure strength and power, so I lift heavy weights for most of the year. As I'm into the early stages of the training block, my main focus for the next 4 weeks will be strength. I'll use this time, while my mileage is still a bit lower, to really dial in on the eccentric strength work. Luckily, I coach in a really great gym and I have access to some really useful equipment for maximising eccentric strength work. Tuesdays are a squat day, and here you can see me using weight releases on my squat. This allows me to have more weight on the bar during the eccentric phase of the movement, so that's like the downward portion of the movement, where the legs are the strongest, but drops the weight off at the bottom of the movement so that I can still safely do the concentric or the upward portion of the movement. It's a more awkward way to do it, but I like the strength benefits that come with it. I'm really zoning in on the quads today, which is why I'm using the front squat instead of the back squat. After this, the quad onslaught continues, and I use reverse Nordics to continue capitalising on the eccentric strength work. So you can see I'm trying to go as slowly as possible on the way down and essentially help myself to get back to the top of the movement, because it's the downward portion of the movement that is the most important here. This movement also really puts some work into the muscular structure around the knees, and after the faffy setup for the weight releaser squats, it's nice to do a movement that requires minimal equipment. Once the two main exercises are done, I touch on a little bit of hamstring work. I'll be doing the bulk of my hamstring work on Thursday, so we only need to do a couple of sets here. I've opted for single leg deadlifts to get the additional benefits from the ankle and knee stabilization available from this movement. Then I finish off my workout with exercises that are purely for injury prevention. I take care of my glute medius and hip flexors during the warm-ups for my runs, so my main strength workouts, I work on my calves and my tibialis muscles. I don't have any of my monthly check-in clients this evening, so it's time to head home. I get on the bike with my heavy bag full of groceries and I cycle back up the hill. Once I'm back at home, I've got a bit of time to get a protein shake in, put the groceries away, address any work admin that might need doing that day, and then grab a 30-minute nap. Fitting in the naps will be important. Thankfully, my current career is flexible enough to accommodate this, and when I do have a full afternoon with 4 or 5 hours of coaching on top of training, it is very tiring, so fitting in the rest and recovery is key. At the moment, my second run of the day is really short. I'm very much still at the stage where I'm letting my body adjust to doing 2 double run days a week regularly, so I just pop out for an easy 3k run. If I was still down at the gym, I'd just jog around the local roads. Because it's pretty dark now this time of day, I'm sticking to roads and paved paths for safety's sake more than anything else. As you saw, I do still do mobility work and activation exercises before this run. They really have helped make a difference for me, and locking them in as a habit has been an important development. Obviously, as my client base increases, Tuesdays are going to get a bit more jam-packed. So that's something I'm going to have to kind of adjust to
as it happens. At the minute I only really have intermittently a really busy Tuesday. I coach some people on like a monthly check-in basis, so they just have a session where they check in with me once a month, and then the rest of the time I like contact them via email and basically monitor their program from afar, as it were. So sometimes Tuesdays are busy, but it's not every week at the minute. When I do have evening clients on a Tuesday, I have to pack my lunch ahead of time as normal, but I also have to pack my tea up as well, because I'll have to have that down at the gym. It's likely I'll basically be at the gym from probably around midday until sometimes 8 o'clock in the evening, depending a little bit on when my clients are spaced out. So it varies a bit. And then I'll also have to do my second run of the day, just like in the roads around the gym, if I've got a bunch of clients kind of over the afternoon and evening. This Tuesday was obviously a lot quieter, so I was able to get my second run done just in the roads around home, which makes things a lot simpler. Once I got the second run done, it's not too far off time to eat. Greg usually gets back from work sort of between 6 and half 6 most of the time. Sometimes it's a little bit later, so I'll try and have tea ready. I'll have something like right after the run if I need it, like a snack or something, but usually I'll just be able to wait for tea. This week was fajitas. Normally I bulk cook on a Monday, so I don't have to think about cooking on a Tuesday, but because I didn't have any evening clients, I took the opportunity to have fajitas, which is one of my favourite meals. I do really enjoy it, so it's nice to kind of start the earlier part of the week off with having something that I really enjoy sometimes. Once we've had tea, we'll have a pretty chill evening in most of the time. We were going to a parkour facility in Rotherham on Tuesdays, but just now that I'm running twice a day and lifting on a Tuesday, it's not feasible to keep doing that, so we might have to just try and find a different evening to fit that in. I don't know, it's a difficult one. I kind of want to do parkour, but my motivation to do it is not really that high a lot of the time. Like, I really enjoy bouldering as my kind of non-running activity, and fitting other stuff in just gets a bit much, but I also want to run a lot, so it might be I just have to stick to really basic parkour stuff in like the local area or whatever, rather than trying to learn flips and things, which is sad, but maybe I'll figure it out, we'll see. So I might watch something, or I might play a game for a bit, depends on exactly how I'm feeling. I've kind of not really been in the mood for playing video games much in the last few weeks, but sometimes it just feels like a lot of effort. Like, there's a lot of different games that I'm kind of part way through, or like a lot that are kind of on my to play list. Like, I've got a playthrough of Fallout New Vegas that's part way through at the minute, but I just can't be bothered to carry on with it. I'm at like a bit in the story where I've got to go and talk to a bunch of people and try and figure out basically kind of like a political situation. I just can't be bothered. I don't think my character's speech skill is high enough, so it's not going to go well. So that, I've been putting that off basically. So the video gaming situation is sometimes I play games. There are other games that are like much more chilled out and don't require that much kind of thought and whatnot. So sometimes I'll just kick back with something that's really, really, really calm, like a little puzzle game or something. But that's one of the other things that I might do on an evening. The other thing is that I might just read. I might go up to bed even earlier than I normally do. So I normally get into bed for about 9 and chill out for about an hour before trying to actually get to sleep around 10. But sometimes I might go upstairs at 8 and just read for like 2 hours instead of 1. Depends a little bit on exactly how I'm feeling. At the moment, I'm reading the Wheel of Time series. I'm on book 6, Lord of Chaos. It's obviously a bit of an endeavour trying to read the Wheel of Time. There are 14 books, so I'm anticipating it's still going to take me a while to get through. But I'm enjoying it a lot, and I haven't really read like a ton of fantasy in the last few years, so I'm mostly sci-fi. That's usually where I end up leaning towards. So it's good to kind of get my teeth into a fantasy series that I'm actually enjoying, because that doesn't happen very often. And yeah, I'll just keep plugging through it because it's a long old series. Okay, now that I've rambled about what I spend my evenings doing, that's pretty much it. That's the day. It's obviously a lot of activity in one day, and I prefer to have it that way in that there's quite a lot condensed onto fewer days, so that tomorrow I'll basically just do an easy run, and that will feel basically like a break, if that makes sense. So I like having lots of intensity on the Tuesday, like there's a lot going on there, and my Thursdays are really busy, and then I have my long run day, and all the days that I run outside of that are really short, easy runs. And then I'll have a rest day in the week, and that seems to work really well for me, that like variation in the volume and intensity throughout the week, and it really does just feel like my rest days or my recovery days are really focused on like rest or recovery, which is nice. It works for me. It doesn't work for everybody, but it's working for me. Okay, that is everything. So thank you very much for watching. I'll be back next week with a video on what an easy run day looks like, so I'll be a lot less training than you've seen today, but yeah, another interesting insight, hopefully, and a bit more of an insight into the sort of stuff that I eat throughout the day as well, and I hope that's been useful or enlightening or helpful in some way, and I will catch you next time.